Now, life becomes simpler after spiritual awakening, but it doesn't become easier. If you have ever been told that your life is going to get easier because you're spiritually awakened, because you finally wake up, then that is literally an illusion. And it's an illusion of the ego because when you believe that it's going to become easier, now you're going to do it because you want to see spiritual awakening as an escape mechanism from maybe the quote unquote hardship that you're experiencing. But what I want you to learn is that innately we live in a dual world, and there is duality in everything that exists. And what is duality? Duality simply means that there are two polarity to everything. And because there are two polarity to everything, it's simply a law of the universe that for everything that you get, you're going to have the flip side of it. So if this is true, it means that you can never always have ease. If life was easy and if after spiritual awakening, life became easy, then for some reason, there's no longer going to be need for you to spiritually grow and ascend and become more spiritually intelligent, emotionally intelligent. Because now you have everything going easy the way you want it. Because again, when it's easy, it's actually an illusion of the ego because now you have a false safety. And if believe that it's easy, so of course, because it's easy, we are safe. And that is a false protection mechanism for the ego. So safety in itself and ease in itself is literally not really the soul's desire, but literally it's actually the illusion of the ego to keep us in the protective mechanism because it feels like it doesn't belong, right? So in order to fully understand this, you want to first of all understand what is a spiritual awakening and what is the ego. So the spiritual awakening is, again, as you already know, the process of waking up to not just knowing that you are a spirit, but embodying and living as that and waking up to the oneness of everything and the interconnection of everything and realizing that you are not separate. You are not a separate self, but you are literally a fractal of the divine, of God, of source. And then living in accordance to that, because you can have this illusion that just because you know about it, you are living in alignment to it. But just because you know about spiritual awakening or you know that you're a spirit, until you actually wake up to that truth and you embody that and you live that as your truth, you are not truly spiritually awakened. So in order to spiritually awaken, you need to first of all have an ego. And the ego is literally the part of self that feels like it's separate from everything, right? It's the part of self that creates the illusion of separation. And in Christianity, we call this the flesh. And in the spiritual world, we call this the ego mind. So it's the part of self that feels like I am separate from all things and I'm a separate entity, right? And if I'm a separate entity, then you often see the ego trying to protect itself, trying to create protection mechanism and trying to do things in order to put itself and take care of itself. So this then means that if we awaken, right, we no longer see ourselves as separate. And because we no longer see as separate, we see ourselves as part, as we are oneness in all things. And we live in relationship with all things, and not just consciously as a level of thinking, but as a level of embodiment and integration. So what does this really imply? This means that when you have truly spiritually awakened, your life is simply going to become this. You're no longer going to be living from a place of separation, of a separate self. And because you're no longer living from a place of the ego, which is the separate self, the wounded parts of self that feels like it's separate from all things, because you no longer live from this place, you no longer get attached to things. And in some sense, you feel that because you're not attached, you feel the desire to literally simplify everything. Because once you awaken, and it's like, I have fully awakened to the fact that I'm one with all things, or you awaken to the fact that everything is an illusion and the truth is really just who you are, what happens is that you realize that because you're no longer separate and you don't feel the separation and you don't feel the illusion of the ego, now you realize that, oh my God, I am one with all things, and all things is already what I am, and all that I'm looking for is already there. And because you no longer feel the separation, the lack, the victimhood, the trying to protect yourself, trying to feel safe, and trying to have all these coping mechanisms, what happened is that you no longer see the need to overcomplicate things. And this goes even with your lifestyle. Now, your lifestyle changes because now the things that maybe you used to desire from the place of the ego, the place of the flesh, the place of the separate self, because the separate self wants to feel like it belongs in the world. It wants to feel that it is seen, it is heard, it is understood, or it tries to prove itself. You no longer see the need of those things. And this goes in the sense of even the stuff, right? Even your lifestyle. You realize that now your soul is creating more of the simplicity because it is confident in who it is. It know who it is. You really are. It's grounded in the truth of who you are as a soul and as a divine being. And because you are grounded in the truth of who you are as a divine being, you no longer need external validation from stuff, from things, from showing off your lifestyle. And now you desire to live more of connected lifestyle, right? Because to the ego, remember, because it is separate, and when you live according to the separate self, that still seeing as yourself as I am, and a separate entity, me, I, me, mine, you're trying to subconsciously prove your worth. You're trying to subconsciously survive. You're trying to subconsciously find your place in the world because you feel like you need to find it in order to belong, right? And because of this energy, again, you get things because, okay, if I have a bigger car, I feel like I belong. If I have a bigger house, I feel like I belong. I feel validated, I feel seen. And again, because it's a separate self and because it's a wounded self, it's trying to look for all these things on the external because it feels like something is against it. It is me against everything and everyone. So let me try to be separate. Instead of when you awaken, you realize that, oh my God, it is me against nobody. It is simply me and everything. And as a result, you live a more connected life and your taste literally changes. What inspires you, what lights you up, what excites you really becomes different because now it's like your attention is focused on higher things. And I come from a Christian background, and then the Bible puts it like you set your attention on things above, on things, on higher things, on heavenly things, as the Bible puts it, but not heavily as a place, but of things that literally nourishes the soul, right? And you notice that, oh my God, you want a simpler life. You don't want more stuff. You don't want more things. You don't want a bigger house. Because what I've actually realized is that having a bigger house, having more stuff, living a quote unquote higher life kind of like creates like a tension in the body, and it creates a sense of anxiety because more stuff, more things, more proving brings more stress, more anger, more pain. So when you simplify your life and you kind of like you awaken, you desire to just be simple, or and you start seeing beauty in the little things, in nature, in trees, in the earth itself, in the ground. And it no longer is it coming from this place of you are wanting stuff on this 3D realm, but you more are connected to yourself, to people, and to the earth and to nature in itself. And you realize, oh my God, simplicity actually means more happiness. And having just being simple and just enjoying every day actually means more happiness to me because now I'm living in alignment with truth. I'm living in alignment with my soul, and I'm living in alignment with my heart. So now, this doesn't mean that the troubles, quote unquote, the challenges, the issues of this life are going to go away. Again, because there's a duality that exists in the universe. There is a universal law that, again, to everything, there's a flip side of it. And if you are to ascend and grow in your spiritual journey, you need to have challenges. And these challenges, what we call hard times, what we call difficult, what do we call what's the word that I can use? What we call heartaches are literally there as catalysts to wake us up, as catalysts to awaken us to our heart, our soul, our divine nature so that we can reconnect to ourselves and we can literally do the work. Because without the challenges, if everything is just simple, easy, you're not going to need to do the inner work. You're not going to have to ascend. You're not going to have to actually grow and evolve. And because your soul is here to literally learn, grow and evolve so that in the next lifetime, it can maybe fulfill its purpose or it can ascend to higher dimensions after you exit this body, you are going to have these challenges. You are going to have this not so good moments. You are going to have these moments of that are going to literally challenge you. And these moments serve as catalyst to your growth, because it's in those moments that you literally learn to embody the things that you're learning on your spiritual journey, and not just learning, but you live it. And you live it and it becomes part and parcel of who you are, of your soul, of the true essence of who you are. And in this moment, you then integrate and you then kind of like do what I call accelerate your spiritual journey. And the best way, the easiest way that you're going to have to accelerate your spiritual journey is going to be through learning to actually lead yourself through this challenging moment, through these heartaches, and through the hard times. So when you know you have the emotional intelligence tool and you've done your own inner work, you've healed, you know how to lead yourself, self-leadership, you know you are emotionally intelligent, you build your resilient muscle, then in those moments, you actually appreciate the challenging moments, because now you have the tools to lead through those moments. And because you have the challenge to lead through those moments, you accelerate your ascension process. And then you are, the more and more you become spiritually intelligent. So again, your desire, this need of a simpler life, this desire to have less stuff, and it's almost like you're developing a minimalistic mentality, or it's almost like you want more natural things, more less artificial, less ego things, but you really want things that are nature, the grass, the earth, connection to people and stuff, in more easy and simpler life. It's simply because this is truly what the souls crave, and this is a sign that you're actually on the right path. So if you are desiring like that, it's actually a sign that you're on the right path. And I just wanted to share that to really show you why you really desire that, because you desire that because your ego is actually, you're integrating your ego more and more, and you are no longer trying to live by it, because now the ego is no longer existing. It's almost like, it's not like it's dying, but you're integrating it to the real self, to live more as the real self, and bringing back the ego to your real self, because your ego is not part of self that you kill. You don't kill it, you don't dissolve it, you integrate it. You integrate it, and because you integrate it, now you live more, your desires are more soul-led, and you are desiring simplicity, because that is really what your soul wants. Your soul just exists, and it has never been wanting cars, stuff, bigger stuff. Not to saying desiring those things are not good. It could be a soul-led desire as well for you. But when you feel that this craving, this big desire to literally just live from the heart and live from the soul, is because in that moment, that is actually what is going to fulfill you, because now the ego is not leading again. Right? It's like the soul is leading more, and little by little, the ego is leading less. So if you feel that desire, go with that desire and live according to it and lead by it. And your spiritual journey is going to be so beautiful. See you in the next one.